We heard that a lot. Justin, thank you so much. I feel so honored to be introduced by you. To have an athlete that you worked with, and to see him come back and be the head coach. What an honor. To Erica Bowling, Roberts, Washington, I know you're back there someplace. Thank you for spearheading the nomination. And to the track and field alumni that are here, I'm deeply touched. I haven't seen somebody in 35 years. There's people here from my first team in '79. I haven't seen them. There's people that flew in from all over the state of California. It was really special when you have a young man fly all the way from New York just to be here tonight. I could not be standing here if it wasn't for the athletes. They were the ones that made it work. I may have pushed some buttons along the way, but they were the ones that responded. And they were the ones that made it all happen. I want to thank Sean, Jen Farrell. I want to thank Susan King, Isaiah Thompson, Matt Monroe, the entire Northridge Athletic Program for everything they did to make tonight possible. I want to congratulate all my fellow inductees. I can remember Debbie, you come in out on the track in '87, and I can remember those girls running laps on the track. And I kept trying to convince Torgy and you that a couple of them could have been runners for the track team. But you and Torgy were very hard-headed and never allowed me to come in. Good thing you were the national champions. Congrats. I'm humbled to be here tonight to accept this award on behalf of the Northridge Track and Field family. God has blessed me with so many wonderful relationships. To Carolyn, my wife, my best friend, who patiently, for your patience and your understanding, for enduring the life of a track coach wife, those 80 and 90 hour weeks in the spring were not easy. Compared to the 80 and 90 weeks, conference week was even worse. Because I don't think I ever heard a word you said that week. The kids will tell you, the kids, some of you are 50. The kids would see me conference week and they knew that I was in the zone because I like to win. That was all that mattered, was winning. It also mattered about how we did it. We had discipline, we had courage, we have the ability to make it happen. To my extended family, stepson Tim and his wife Lisa, Alan Weberly and his daughter Tiana, Big West Conference champion in volleyball a couple of years, Roy and Valerie Fogg, Joe and Laurel Lynn, thank you for being here tonight. And to my church family, go ahead and be here. To my church family, Matt Brannick and his wife Karen, Tom Kulak and his wife Linda, Fran Judge, his wife Kim, Steve Hare and his wife Pam, and Steve Oliva and his wife Lori. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. To all my fellow Northridge coaches, it was quite a ride. From 1979, all the things we went through, our head coaches meetings, our knockdown, drag-out fights to try to make something happen for the athletic program, to make things better for the student athletes. I thank you, each and every one of you. Sam Winningham, Bob Eager, Judy Brame, and William Watkins for putting your faith and trust in me and allowing me to be here tonight. To Mandy McConkey, our athletic advisor at the end there for so many years. Without her, we would have never made it. Because every time an athlete missed a class, I knew about it that same day. And we had several meetings about that. You can ask the athletes. I used to put my arm around them, give them a big hug, and then I'd say, I'll see you in my office tomorrow. They all knew what that meant. Dale Rudd, Rhonda Lowry, Steve Gregg, Ruben Avila, Izzy Gold, Howard Garcia, Mark Adams, Mark Loomis, Virginia White, Lori Floback, and Trudy Ferris all helped make this happen. My mentors at Northridge were Dr. Barbara Circus and Dr. Jim Sefton. In the early years, the assistant coaches that helped get this thing going, we're talking about the early 80s through the Division II years. Tony Beatty, DJ Johnson, Tim Werner, Charlie DeMarco, Dan Lang, Bob Agello, Pam Spencer Marquez, who is here tonight, Olympian, 1980 Olympian, and the D1 years with Jeff McCullough, Brian Marston, Selah Suda, Richard Anderson, and then the group of coaches that were assistants under me and went on to become either Olympic coaches or Division I head coaches. Jeremy Fisher, Jeff Perkins, Dale Cowper, Avery Anderson, John Frazier. I couldn't be more proud of you. And 4 student athletes that went on to become Olympic coaches or head coaches. John DeGata, Chris Asher, Sheree Hicks, and of course, Justin. In 1969, I started at Locke High School in LA. Locke was located on 111th in San Pedro. Watts Riot started on 116th in San Pedro. Gasoline Alley was 103rd in San Pedro. 1974 was my first week of coaching track there. In the first week of practice, Friday afternoon, I'm standing in the middle of the infield watching the first practice go, and I hear the shots ring out. I hear the bullets go by my head. I'm sorry, I still get emotional about this. I turned, and Robert Briscoe is down on the track. Robert was the older brother of Valerie Briscoe Hooks. She also went to Northridge, 3-time Olympic champion in 1984 Olympics, gold medalist. As I sat with the parents in the hospital at 11:15 that night, the doctors came out and said he didn't make it. A few minutes later, the parents said to me, "Do not let his death be in vain." And in the words that defined my coaching career, help everyone you can. last page, including the classified ads. And up in the corner, on one of the last pages, on the classified ads, there was an ad saying that Cal State Northridge was looking for a cross-country coach. I applied. I got the job. If I hadn't got that job, I wouldn't probably be here today. In the fall of 1985, Northridge had decided to go to a directorship in track and field. I applied for the job, even though I'd already been here for a few years as the head women's coach. And during that time frame, I'd also coached the men's distance program all the way through. I'd coached the men's sprinters. I'd actually coached everything on the track and field during my early career, except for the pole vault. Tiana, I could have never been any help to you. So I knew they needed to have a head coach by Monday. This is Friday afternoon, because school was starting. And they had told me that they were going to make a decision by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Still no phone call at 3 o'clock, and I'm starting to get a little concerned. At 4:27, I finally get a phone call. And Dr. Sam Whittingham was on the phone, and he said, we're going to offer you the job as the director of track and field. And I'm all excited. And then he says to me, I'm going to offer you the job at associate professorship step 4. And my heart sank. That was going to be about a $15,000 pay cut. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. So I countered, and I countered at full professorship step 2, which no coach in Northridge history had ever been promoted out of associate professorship, and that's why I decided I would ask for what I asked for. He calls back at 4:37 and offers me associate professorship step 5. That was still going to be a major pay cut for me. I countered. I said, full professorship step 1, take it or leave it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did. 4:55, 4:56, 4:57. I'm sweating bullets. Finally, the phone rings, and they offer me the job at full professorship step 1. That same year, I get the job on Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Well, we hadn't done any recruiting because no one knew who was going to be the coach. So I only had one person signed up for men's cross country when I start on Monday. We're in trouble. We're in big trouble. So back then, where the dorms are now, was all cornfields. Had the best corn in the valley growing there. And I saw some young men running through the cornfields. So I run around the other side, I drive around the other side. And I try to find, well, they went a different way through the cornfield. So 3 days in a row for 3 hours, I'm out there chasing these kids around. And I finally catch up to them. And I convince them that they need to run Northridge cross country and to bring a friend, because it was still So we ended up with 7 guys who had never run a race in their life. We go to San Diego for the first meet of the year, and they get lost. They became known as the Lost Patrol. Had so much fun with that. I'll always remember them. We had several national champions, which we've already talked about, that were mentioned earlier. And we had the all-comers meets. The all-comers meets were our way of trying to make some money back then, because our budget was actually worse than your budget now, Justin. It was pretty bad. So we started the all-comers meets. The only trouble was it took the whole team to run the all-comers meets. We had as many as 2,000 athletes show up for an all-comers meets. We had years in which some older guys from SC who were 65, 70 years old, one set the national record in the pole vault, and one did. We had a national record in the weight throw. It was really a draw. We had Olympians, but the most important thing was, part of what Justin was talking about is we learned an ethic during that time, in that in order to be part of the program, you needed to be there on Saturdays. And it wasn't just one Saturday. We did all-comer meets 10 weeks in a row. Thank you to the student athletes for being who you were and dedicating your time to make this program better. Early 90s, we're going up against UCLA at UCLA. They're ranked in the top 5 in the nation. And we're in our D1 years now. And we had a chance to beat them. We built the meet out. One break here, one break, another break there. We felt we could have won that meet. So I walked through the gate about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the first person walks up to me and says, "It's too cold." The next person walked up to me and said, "It's too hot." Next person said, "My shorts are too short." The next person said, "My spikes are too long." It just went like this. So I had a full page of notes. We lost the meet. Justin will tell you that when we lose meets, I'm not in exactly the best of moods. And we usually have a team meeting afterwards, but we just decided that we'll wait till Monday. So we're all gathered in our little weight room on Monday for the team meeting. And the coaches walk in and you could hear a pin drop because they knew they were going to get ripped. All I had to do was bring out that paper and I went through it. The excuses. We never had to worry about it again. We had the biggest laugh. I did all 26 excuses that I had. We laughed, and I walked out the door, and that was it. That was our team meeting. They knew. We never had to worry about excuses after that. A huge addition to the program was adding indoor track in the early 90s. Really brought us to another level of competition with the Division Ones. We were able to run against everybody in the nation at some of those meets. The chant, the indoor chant. Everybody remembers the indoor chant. It was phenomenal. And it defined who we were. The Fresno State rivalry. It was so intense that Stanford, which was in the meet, pulled out of the meet. San Diego State, that was in the meet, pulled out of the meet because no one wanted to be around when the two of us were going head to head. The thing was, the Fresno State coach was one of my best friends at the time. He passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. But Red and I believed in the same things and the same values. So it was a great rivalry. You had two coaches on the track that day that really went at it. But that night, we celebrated together. We had 3 Division I national champions in Darcy Arreola, Deshaun Andrews, and Rendell Cole. And I remember each one of those very clearly. From the first team meeting of the year, our goal was to win the conference championships. The athletes knew that all the invitationals were for them individually. But the conference championship were for the team. They were for Northridge. At times, athletes were asked to compete in events that were not their specialty. If we knew they could score more points in other events, we asked them to do that, and they did so willingly. That was what resulted in 4 American West titles and 3 Big Sky titles and 13 Big West titles, including 6 straight women's. A special thank you to you, the student athletes. The reason I stand before you tonight is a testimony to their willingness to believe in themselves. I had a wonderful career at Northridge. My success was only through God's grace and my relationship with Jesus Christ. To God be all the glory.